Read your line.
If that's so, thank you. That's so. You know what should I be? Everybody stay at home.
Quickly, let's have our second conversation on the show this morning. I'm joined by two gentlemen. From my immediate left is engineer Mike, he's a public commentator. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
And next to him is Ahmed Mahmoudou, public commentator as well as a politician. It's a pleasure to have you on the program again after a long while.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Let's begin with you, Mahmoudou. When you look at the country and the world today, I mean, the conversations are not the same again. In fact, people have said the world will never remain the same again, ever, on many fronts on account of this COVID-19 pandemic. And then you come back home in Edo State as part of efforts to ensure that we win the war against the virus. The state government is saying, look, you have to spend between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. inside your house. In other words, there's a curfew now. For the next 10 days, let's use that period to evaluate how well we are doing, and then we can know what areas in which we need to ensure improvements and so on and so forth. This is the fourth day of the curfew, the dusk to dawn curfew in Edo State, for instance. What has been your assessments?
Well, the approach the state government has taken is one of cautiously increasing watching how this pandemic is playing out in Edo State. So basically they first started with social distancing, and then watching that gradually come to now saying let us put on face masks, and then now we are at the point where they've decided there should be a curfew to limit the movement of people at night time, because I think what their argument was is that at night people seem to have totally abandoned the social distancing, particularly in social settings like hotels and bars and so on and so forth. So I think that's what informed the curfew. And it seems to be that they have the issue under control, and we are hoping for the best interest of everybody in Edo State that is the case. Nobody wants to see this pandemic get out of hand in Edo, or see the kind of numbers that we are seeing in other places.
Like Lagos.
Because even though Lagos seems to have a grip on it, it seems to be just quietly escalating. But we are hopeful that the state government has this issue under control, and we'll keep on watching and seeing how it progresses.
There's the argument that, look, this is a way of gradually gravitating towards a total lockdown in the states. Because first of all, the government had said, look, we cannot afford a total lockdown. Apparently because of the economic features, as it were, of the states. We understand that 90% of the state's economy is informal in nature.
Yes.
All right, only 10 is formal or structured, as they say. So there's the argument that it's going to be in phases in the end. I mean, the final analysis, you're going to have a total lockdown of the state. Do you see that possibility in the horizon?
I see a continuous, it looks like there is a continuous assessment of the situation, and then the government is taking that decision as it plays out. It may be that will be the end game. There are quarters that say even the Oba has asked that the state be locked down totally. We don't know all the factors that government is playing with at this time, but we must trust in their own ability to keep watching that situation and making sure that it's kept in check and it's not allowed to escalate beyond where it is manageable. And at this point, I think this is what they are doing. They've decided that this phased approach to curtailing it and identifying where hotspots may be so that it can be attacked, I think it's a reasonable approach.
Okay, we're going to open our lines for you to be able to call in. Tell us about what your experiences have been as far as the dusk to dawn curfew is concerned, and then of course about the palliatives as well, particularly palliative initiatives from the end of the federal government. So we're going to also allow you to use our Twitter handle to weigh into the issue, and then of course we'll take your text messages in the course of the show this morning. But let me turn to Mike quickly now. When you look at the states, and in particular in the country at large, but let's begin with the state. People are saying, if you want us to stay indoors, you've got to make provision for us. There's that argument. There's the argument that while we understand that you want us to be alive, you want to protect us, and as such you're asking us to stay at home, you're asking us to observe curfew, you need to give us a means of livelihood. What's your reaction to that sort of argument?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. If you ask people not to go to work, you ask people to stay at home, there must be a provision for it.
Okay.
And then that provision is not being felt by people. Except in some areas where some honorables from local governments use their initiatives to reach the people. But the presence of the federal government as of now in Edo State is not being felt. So if you ask people not to go out, to stay at home, then how do they live? Because a lot of people may not be able to cope with it, with their meager resources. And at the end of the day, the death toll will not even be more than the coronavirus we are fighting.
Okay, that's the argument really, because there's also the belief that government does not have enough resources to be able to cater to people's needs as far as their basic supplies are concerned. Don't you think governments just may be overwhelmed?
No. For government to say that, you see, in this country, we have been playing with the life of people. If you look at the total numbers of Nigerians, assuming we are 200 million, and taking for instance this state, that security votes, and the security vote that comes in every month is a lot. In Edo State, the numbers of citizens in Edo State, that security vote can take for 100,000 for each person. So if the government is saying,
we don't have the mathematical accuracy for that, really.
Yes, you don't have, but
yes,
because every day number increases.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say, there are a lot of donors right now in Nigeria. When I look at my Facebook a few weeks ago, 19 Nigerians are donated 450 billion. So if you are giving each Nigerian 1 million, we still have about 25 billion, and we still have excess.
You see, that's where transparency probably becomes another challenge altogether, because this issue was raised during one of the interactive sessions between the press and the members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. This issue in particular was raised, and the response of the Honorable Minister of Culture, Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, was that when these individuals and corporate citizens announced their donations, their support, much as they mentioned the amounts, they were actually going to bring facility, not the money. For example, if somebody said, I'll be contributing 1 billion, they were going to probably build the facility worth 1 billion, not actually giving federal government 1 billion naira. So don't you think there's a disconnect between the information we are getting and what the reality is?
Yeah, well, with due respect to the Minister for Information and Culture, I never believe in one day. Because if people are said they are donating 30 billion, yes, 1 billion, 90 billion, like the banks, Senate Bank, UBA, this amount they are doing, which structures are they going to use that money to build within this short period?
Okay, I know when I looked at a few videos, a few stories online here and there from credible traditional media sources, we saw, for example, a particular bank that was building an isolation center at that point in time, a very massive one for that matter, in Lagos. But going forward, I think transparency is an issue we need to address as quickly as possible. But I turn again out to Mahmudu. There's an argument saying, look, we understand the government, state, federal, I mean, they are doing a whole lot of work in terms of palliatives, in terms of ensuring that support is given to those in the front line, I mean, first responders, rather, and so on and so forth. But they are now also concerned about how well we are galvanizing the process. I'll give you an instance quickly. The conditional cash transfer. A lot of persons are still saying, I've never seen one person who has been a beneficiary of the 20,000 naira transfer we've heard about. What are we not doing right?
Okay, so it's important that we kind of roll it back a little bit. That program is one of probably the most successful programs this administration has.
How so?
It was initiated in 2016. There are two components. There's the federal component and then there's the state component. Okay. So what was supposed to happen is the federal government and the states signed an MOU where the states would provide stations as a situation stations, right, and manpower. So the federal government would use those channels to get these monies to the different localities. We are talking of well over 700 local governments, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere 700 to 900, something in that range. So what happened was some of the states implemented the MOUs to the logical conclusion. Some lagged behind. Now, those figures that we are seeing is reflective of the lack of push of the states. So it is not anything that we can blame ourselves at this level. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is this program was targeted at the poorest of the poor. We are not talking about people that have access to social media. We are not talking about people that have access to phones. We are not talking about people that have access to kakaki or you and I. We are talking about the poorest of the poor. And the only means by which you could even target these people is conditional cash transfers. It has to be cash. Cash is the only medium that is easy to transfer to them. Now, if you think about the people I'm talking about, you will realize that even if you take bank charges from them, it is going to cost some money, which they cannot afford. So when you say you don't know anybody that has received this money, it's not very surprising. Very few of us mix with those category of people. They are the real downtrodden. I'll give you a very simple example. The other day, I sat with a few friends, and this same narrative came up, and he said, we don't know anybody who's had that kind of money, and so on and so forth. So I called one chap who was passing by, and he was selling pure water. And I said to him, I said, all your wares, how much is all of this that you are holding? And he had 2 bags of pure water. You guess how much his 2 bags of pure water were?
Maybe between 300 and 400?
For the 2 bags. Yes. And he will hold for 2 hours to sell 50.
Maybe even longer.
Maybe even longer, 50 bags. Now, if you give such a person 5,000 naira, do you understand what you've done? So these are the people that we are talking about. We cannot sit in our comfortable AC conditions and be talking about not knowing. This is probably the most successful program the government has run. It is so successful, I will tell you, the World Bank gave its own money to this program and said this is the first time we've seen such success in a direct involvement between the government and the recipient. World Bank gave their money. I think it was $40 million, if I'm not mistaken. So these are facts that we need to look into. So we can't just sit back in our comfort zone and say, I don't know anybody. The people that it is impacting are there. There are figures on the ground. How they get them may be another conversation, but it is a true fact.
Okay, well, we're going to start taking your calls now, so you can make your contributions to the show. We want you to lend your voice to the conversation we're having as far as the curfew in Edo State and the palliatives by the federal government are concerned. Remember too that we're live on Twitter. The handle is at ITV Radio NG. You can also use at Sage Dazzle, that is at SAGEDAZZLE, to tweet at us. Remember, you can send your SMS as well into the show this morning. But straight away, we'll start taking your calls now, so we can wire your opinions and contributions into this discussion we're having. Again, Mike, when you look at this whole issue about palliatives, it has further, in some sense, complicated the challenge we're dealing with as a country. Ordinarily, governments owes its people obligation in terms of security and ensuring that there's an enabling environment for all of them. But some persons have said, look, no matter what government does at this point, for so many people, it's going to look like a drop in an ocean, because first of all, Nigeria is dealing with systemic problems. Away from COVID-19, Nigeria is already dealing with systemic problems. And they are saying we would need systemic approach to also address these problems. Don't you think at this point, government is dealing with a whole lot on its hands?
Yeah, well, government on their own, they're trying.
Okay.
But the problem is that their trials are being subjugated by some cabals.
So we have a cabal on this one.
Yes. Yes. So on the part of the government, they are making efforts to reach people. Otherwise, if this government fails, because this is a test, this is a litmus test for the government. This will not go else. If they cannot take care of their people at this point, then it's a total failure.
I'm going to take a quick call and then I'll follow you up with the second question. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TMI. Oh, doctor, welcome to the show.
Hello?
Doctor, we can hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the program.
I want to make my contribution to Man Around Council.
Okay, that will be on radio. That's going on as we speak. But this is TMI. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, welcome to the program. Your name and location quickly.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, welcome to TMI.
Yes, good morning. I can hear you.
Go ahead and make your contribution if you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
You've not told me your name and where you're calling from.
Comrade Paul.
Okay, Comrade Paul, welcome to the program.
Yes, I want to...
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to TMI. Please, once your call goes through, just be sure you turn down the volume altogether on your television and then make your contribution.
Can you hear me? I'm calling from Asaba.
Okay, welcome to the program. Go ahead and talk to us.
Okay?
Go ahead and talk to us. Welcome to the program.
Okay, I want to make reference to what the coordinator is saying. We have been locked down for like 3 weeks now.
That's in Delta State, right?
So 3 weeks now. There's no.
Please, would you be kind enough to turn down the volume on your TV sets? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is Dr. Terry Osawaru.
Okay, doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I would want to just make some points known to, I think, Mr. Mahmoudou at the studio there. I really appreciate his explanations, but we are really curious. What he said may be true, but how come nobody knows that question? It is still for an answer. How come nobody knows anybody who has gotten or who has received that 20,000 naira, whatever amount conditional transfer by the FG? And I'm also sure this is when it started in 2016. I also want to find out, is the state government, state governors, and their staff or their people working with them not aware of the persons who are beneficiaries of this federal government gesture in their state? Because if they were, I'm sure, publicity, people getting to know that this person has received XYZ amount would be easier than, FG only explaining that we shared 20 million in Zapala, we shared 10 million in Sokoto. The government should also be able to ascertain that or verify that this information is true. And then it is sprinkled down to the citizenry. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's take a few more calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Singh from Abuja.
All right, go ahead and talk to us.
This is, we are into the fourth week of the lockdown now. And if you hear or if you...
Please, would you raise your voice a little? We barely hear you. Would you raise your voice a little?
Distribution, palliative distribution in states and everything.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, welcome to the program. Your name and location quickly.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. We can hear you all right.
Good morning. This is William.
Yeah, William, welcome to TMI.
Yes. Yeah, you want to contribute on your topic here?
Oh, go ahead and do that.
Yeah. There's this your colleague there that didn't answer the question you're asking.
What was the question?
How many people, or have you ever seen anyone that benefited from the 20,000 naira that
He did answer. He responded.
He responded, but he didn't answer the question.
Okay, would you be kind enough to help us answer the question?
He said he met.
Okay.
Did he ask that pure water person, has that pure water person benefited from the 20,000?
No, he was only being hypothetical. He was saying if you gave 5,000 to such a person, you have no idea how much good you're doing there.
Government are frauding. Government are stealing people's money.
Oh, government is stealing people's money.
From that money in the whole Nigeria, in the whole country, nobody has benefited from that money. Government are collecting people's money. People are donating money to government funds. And government is using that money for their own private issues. They are not giving people dormancy. They are not giving them any cover.
You've done greatly with your contribution. The only thing left undone, I guess, is the fact that you've not been able to give us concrete evidence of that. But thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
Talking about the man by your side, the man that said that government is doing something or government is doing well. Let him correct in his operations.
You should do what? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Yes, good to have you on TMI. Your name and location quickly.
Hello, good morning.
Please, would you project a little? Would you speak up? Hello, good morning.
My name is Samuel.
Okay, go ahead and make your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we're just going to return to the guest in the studio. Before I come back to Mahmoudou, people have also said, Mike, that, look, while government is giving palliatives here and there, both at the local, state, and federal levels, they are saying these are not things we can sustain. You cannot continue to give people fish. Even though we understand that the idea is supposed to, this is supposed to be a short-term kind of initiative. But some people are saying in Nigeria, most things don't come to an end, ever. So are we going to, at what point are we going to say, okay, government has done enough? Let people be independent again. Do you see that happening anytime soon?
By His grace, this pandemic is from the pit of hell, and we are assuming and we are praying that shortly it will go over.
Okay.
And when it's over, palliative will stop. But for people to feel the impact of the palliative,
yes,
well, they are talking of vulnerable people.
Vulnerable people.
Yes, but now all Nigerians are vulnerable. Because
how so?
Because one,
you don't look vulnerable. He doesn't look vulnerable.
I'm particularly vulnerable.
So the only time Nigerians can feel the impact, it is when the thing has gone around over 80%. But now we can't even record. I can't record 10%.
Okay, you see, Mahmoud, that's where a lot of Nigerians have an issue. You see, even though we know most things here are not very structured, especially when you have an initiative in place that's supposed to reach out to about 3.6 million of the poorest of the poor. How do you become a bit scientific in terms of giving members of the public some evidence of the work you're doing? Because we're hoping this doesn't become like someone blinking in the dark, and that won't be something good for the country.
Okay, there's a lot of cynicism, understandable cynicism,
yes,
that surrounds the operations of government, particularly in our part of the world. But on this particular project, the information is out there. It's just that people are not reaching out to find it.
Okay.
This is how it goes. There's a national safety, social security safety net coordination office. That office sends out coordinators to local governments. This is how it works.
Okay.
So they send coordinators to the local government. The local government officials are simply facilitators. They don't identify the recipients. Those local governments take you to the community that you are targeting.
Okay.
So the community is now brought and divided into three groups. There's the youth, women, and men. Out of those three groups, they are tasked to identify the poorest in their own category. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when the youth identify such and such person is the poorest that we have, the women do the same, and then the men do the same. Those names are collated. Now, you have to also understand that poverty is different in different societies. In the nomadic society, poverty may be the number of cows you have. In an agrarian society, poverty may be measured by the amount of land that you use for farming.
Right.
Maybe in a Bini community, for example, where there are blacksmiths, and so on and so forth. So poverty is not something that there's a one size fits all. It is different in different communities. But when these people are identified, they are now added to that register. It is that register that has been populated since 2016. Now, this is something that people don't understand. These conditional cash transfers did not just start yesterday. It's been going on for the past 3 or 4 years. And it's been going on every month. Sometimes the quantum of money changes, but what the president did recently is to say, because of this lockdown, we are going to issue out for the next 2 or 3 months so that these people don't have to expose themselves because of the condition of the country. So the information is out in the open, it's out in the public. What we expect our citizens to do is to try and find this information. There is a national coordinating office that has a register of these people. You don't expect the minister to come on national TV and start doing a roll call of these individuals one by one. They are there, they are on the ground. The cynicism is healthy. It keeps a check on government. But the idea that somebody is just stealing this money is entirely unfounded.
We're going to go back to text messages now. We need to start looking at your contributions coming through text messages, and just before we wind down on the program, we'll take just a few more calls before we're done altogether. But again, Mahmoud, when you look at the whole coronavirus crisis right now, it's becoming more protracted by the day on many fronts. For instance, the United Nations is warning Nigeria and other countries, particularly within the West African sub-region, to say, look, this pandemic is going to bring about famine within your region in particular. So going forward, it means there's a whole lot of work to be done. There's a whole lot of challenge to be surmounted. Palliative will not be enough to address this problem, will it?
So fortunately, there's some good news. Yesterday, I don't know if you're aware, the United Kingdom said they are testing their vaccines that have gone into human testing. So on the positive side, there's that. On the negative side, the pandemic is definitely wreaking havoc in world economies. There is going to definitely be a restructuring of the way people interact, how business is done, and how we live our lives going forward. There's no doubt about that. And unfortunately, there is no template, so we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But we are hopeful that as the cure comes, and then the reality of our lives faces us, we will gradually, with each day, see how things can change. The issue of the palliatives cannot go on forever, that is for sure. But what we are hopeful is that as the pandemic is checked, the numbers are known, the infection is curtailed, life will generally, gradually come back to what it used to be. Maybe not entirely, but to a reasonable extent. Okay,
let's take some SMS then. In the meantime, let's do some calls now, so you can put those calls through on the program and lend your voice. Please, while you may not be comfortable with the opinions of the gentlemen on site, just air your own opinion. We're all Nigerians, so you have the right to air your opinion as long as you keep it civil without casting aspersion on anyone or institution. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to TMI.
I'm calling from Ute.
Okay, madam from Ute, go ahead and talk to us.
You people are doing for the government.
Okay, please turn down the volume on your television set.
What I'm connecting you to do now, share the food for people, yeah? So that they will have food to eat. God bless you.
Thank you.
We are praying for you, the whole nation.
Thank you. Okay, that lady is talking about food, apparently.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to the program.
Yes, this is Paul Igalo speaking.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, comrade, go ahead, we can hear you.
I want to ask a question. Is it at this point in time our leaders will be playing politics with Nigerian life?
How do you mean? Hello, is comrade still there?
At this point in time, when COVID-19 is in Nigeria, I expect that Nigerian government is supposed to be consistent in providing for Nigerians.
Okay, is that your way of saying they are not doing enough?
Yes, I'm saying that the Nigerian government have failed. They are not doing enough.
What more precisely would you have expected? What more precisely would you have expected?
imagine a situation where yes. Now they are saying that they have decided to share 20,000, or rather the federal government is sharing 20,000 to each Nigerian. I have not seen a citizen in this country that says he or she received 20,000. I have not even seen a citizen that says he or she received 10,000. I have not even seen any that say they received 5,000. And you see these people gambling and playing politics with the lives of Nigerians.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, welcome to the program. Your name and location, please.
Just hold on. Waiting for me to be on.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning. I can hear you.
All right, go ahead and make a contribution, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Wu. I'm calling from Benin.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you all right, Uwa. Just go on.
Yeah, first of all, if the ministers know those that are paid for, why can't all the citizens not know them? You should stop coming on air to tell us the obvious lie. You're telling me the ministers shared money for the very poor that citizens don't know. They need the ministers that fly private jets that use the cars. Know them. For heaven's sake, we should stop playing politics like the last one of said. This is COVID-19. Our brothers outside the country get money from other governments. We in our country. What is anything? And you're telling me you're selling money for the very poor that we don't know.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's the much of course we can take. But let's come back to the studio now. It will appear some persons look at it from the perspective that until the money gets to me, until I become a beneficiary of the 5,000, it means government has not shared money. But the fact of the matter is, it's been made clear from the very beginning that this money is not for every Nigerian. It's for a particular number of the so-called poorest of the poor. Is that something more government should be communicating to make this clear?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that, how do you now know the poorest of the poor?
What are the indicators?
What are the indicators? That you know the poorest of the poor. Because the poorest of the poor may not even have BVN. So how do you transfer?
May not even be banked.
They don't even have account. Like, for instance, like the man selling pure water, and the total money for the day is about 300 or 600 naira, and he doesn't have bank account. So how can they get to the poor? How do they know the poorest? But the only thing as he said, you go to the grassroots, which is the local government. If you go to the local government and now sexualize all these area, men, women, youth, then from there, the Ojawede or the shaman of the local government can identify them. But then after identifying them, I've never seen anyone now, I've never heard from anyone saying, somebody give me 5,000, or my local government shaman give me 200, or there is a money sharing somewhere. So that is the bottom line, because it looks like this COVID-19 have been politicized.
Okay, as we begin to wind down in the next 12 minutes on the program, I want us to come back home again to Edo State, where we started from, the issue of the curfew. I want to begin with you, Mahmoud. The government apparently, the state government in Edo apparently means well by saying let's have curfew, dusk to dawn, keep people at home, then observe the situation for, using the 10-day window. But some persons have also been complaining about how those who are saddled with the responsibility of enforcing this curfew go about it. For instance, we've heard about people who say that they are home right in front of their houses, and then they get arrested by security agents. Is that an overreach?
Yes, definitely it's an overreach. The interface between the security agencies and citizens should always be the primary concern of the citizen, not to flex their authority or power. There should always be a corrective measure, not a punitive measure in the engagement. So what we are seeing is, of course, for the first few days, there will be arbitrariness in the implementation of this policy. Okay. But I'm sure as it settles down, the commanders and the authors of the lockdown order, they are going to tell them, look, all you need to do is to correct these people. If you're sitting outside of his house, ask the gentleman or the lady as it may be, enter your premises and confine yourself within there. But of course, you have to also consider that because it's something new. I don't know when there was a curfew last in Edo State. Right. It's going to be something new, and people are not going to understand the parameters of what is right and what is wrong. They have to be educated. This is where the state government is a little bit lagging behind. You need to come out consciously all the time. You can't just say there's a curfew. Define what the curfew is. Define the terms of the agreement.
The government is sort of laid back about this.
Yes, I mean, you don't just say curfew dusk to dawn. What are the parameters? Are you allowed to stay only in your house? Can you come out in the streets? Is walking permitted? Is it only vehicles that shouldn't move? What are the conditions under which you'll be arrested, and so on and so forth? That information needs to be continuously put out. And at the same time it's coming to citizens, it's going to the security agencies, who will also hear the terms of their engagement. And this will, of course, reduce the amount of conflict. We need to remember that it's not punitive, it's corrective. And if that is implemented, I don't think we'll have to.
Just like some of the callers have said this morning on the program, there's also the belief in some quarters that we've not been able to establish a razor-sharp distinction between politics and the problem we're dealing with, which is the COVID-19. How do you see that playing out already?
Unfortunately, everything in human endeavor is politics.
So are we not overdoing it?
Well, it depends on the angle you are looking at it from. Like you rightly pointed out earlier, we have politicized the donations of individuals.
Okay.
What those individuals came out and clearly said, Dangote came out on TV and said it, we have not given the government any money. He said it on TV. He said what we are doing is we are pooling our resources and directing those resources to the areas that require urgent and immediate intervention. Right. What are these areas? They need to get ventilators, they need to get personal protective equipment, they need to get hospital beds and spaces. Now, the issue of building of hospitals has been flawed. They are not building permanent structures. Right. What they are building are temporary ad hoc structures for this problem. So when you call it an isolation center, it may be a tent that will serve. If it is air conditioned, people use that for parties and social engagement. Right. So if you say, if you convert such a thing to an isolation center, it's not bad. Let us focus our mind to Lagos State, for example. One of the biggest isolation centers is in the National Stadium. Right. So it's a temporary structure, but it serves the purpose. I think they have 400 beds there, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So 400 bed facility.
Right. It is not designed for comfort. It's designed to stop people from dying when they get to the point where they need the ventilator to take the stress off the respiratory system. So we need to think about the basic life. That's what we are talking about. We are not talking about where you stand up and then the nurse has a sleeping room. No. 400 beds, 400 people that are on respirators, 400 people that we need to keep alive. That's the focus. So it's okay to have a certain amount of healthy cynicism. But the facts are out there. This is what sometimes is frustrating. The facts are out there. We need to do a little more research. We need to support each other. But primarily, we need to get the right information and share it among ourselves. A lot of times, death is even caused by lack of knowledge. This is even more dangerous. When all the information is out here and people are telling each other stories that are not true, it does not help the situation.
Let me turn to Mike again now. Whether you like it or not, there are people who say our assessment of the government is shallow, because let's say we're not looking at all of the factors in the conversation. They are saying, for example, the Nigerian Brent crude is selling for no more than $10 as it stands right now. Of course, government revenues have dwindled very significantly. So they are saying government honestly has challenges they are dealing with as well. But when we do assessment of government efforts, we do not seem to, most times, bring all of these variables into consideration. Don't you think there's some fact in that?
There are a lot of facts in that, because one, looking at it, because of the drop in the
price of oil.
Yeah, the oil. Petrol have been dropped from 145 to 123.50.
Okay.
Then all other things that is affecting the government has dropped. Even the budget, 2019. They
reviewed downward.
They reviewed downward. Even the national assemblymen, they've even decided to contribute their 2 months' salaries.
Yes, the members of House of Reps.
Yes, House of Reps. Even in Edo State here, yesterday,
the Speaker just announced their 1 month salary.
1 month salary. So everything is dropping. Socially, economically, it's dropping. And so I know that by the grace of God, this thing will not take too much time to come up. But for now, it's affected the government itself. So what we are looking at is the challenges of the federal government is bigger than what we are looking at.
Okay. So there's something Nigerians probably have not realized about the enormity of the challenge. Is that the point?
Yes.
There is not.
It's quite massive.
They have. But the thing is that they need information. It's just like this curfew now.
Yes.
Now this curfew C7, it has negative and positive effects. The negative effect is on the people that operate in the night, like the nightclubs and the hotels. But the positive effect of it is at least the social interaction that will make people to come nearer to each other are stopped, and it will reduce. It will reduce dramatically the number, because I'm so happy that I was trying to listen that is there anyone added to 15 in 3 days. Metro State is still maintaining 15. So kudos to the government. So, but I know that the only thing I'm still advising the government to do, this lockdown of interborders.
Okay.
Let them do that, because most of the people coming to this state are the people that are carriers.
The Governors Forum incidentally has met, and they are strongly categorically recommending interstate border closure. So you think that's a step in the right direction?
Yes, a very good step, because you see Anambra, before the announcement of coronavirus February 27, the Onitsha Bridge was closed. The market was closed. And you see that influx to that place was reduced. So, but the people that are coming outside the state are the people really affected with this thing. So I'm still advising the government. They have done much. Okay. They should do this interlocking state. No movement. And this
stay in your states.
Yes, stay in your state. And this curfew, let the government identify it. You see, you say curfew. It doesn't mean that you cannot stay in your veranda. No. And if the police are arresting and they arrest 5 people, are you maintaining the social distance? No. You carry 5 people.
You're still clustering.
Yeah, exactly. So
what are you doing?
Okay, gentlemen, let's bring this home quickly. The arguments, Mahmoud, of people who say, look, hunger is likely going to kill more people than COVID-19 ultimately. What should we be telling them?
Unfortunately, that's the sad reality of the situation that we found ourselves in. No reasonable person will be happy with the situation on ground, but these are the effects of a pandemic. But I also want to say this. In fairness, we need to look at palliatives not only as cash.
Okay.
The government has gone ahead and issued palliatives in petroleum. For those who buy fuel, they've said, look, bring the cost of fuel down. For those who may not be car owners, they've said everybody is using electricity. Find a way 2 months without electricity. That's a palliative.
But that again, that hasn't kicked in. I mean,
no,
well, unfortunately, between the intention and the actual.
The reason I say that is the public affairs manager for BDC was categorical about it on our news last night. He said, look, that is an ongoing conversation.
Yes.
But as it stands today, in the meantime, consumers must pay for whatever they consume. So
there's in between the plan and the execution, there is a gap. These things have to be looked at.
Okay.
But these are means that with which the government is still trying to extend the palliatives to a broader number of Nigerians. If you look at the ports, for example, the government has said all shipping companies and shipping agencies should not charge any demurrage for the period of 2 months. So it's an ongoing conversation, like you rightly pointed out. We need to keep on reminding them that, like you brought the BDC people here, this is something that has been announced, but it's not implemented. No. You need to go ahead and do it so that people feel the impact of it more.
Right.
And again, let us keep reminding ourselves how important it is to maintain distance, to wash our hands, to keep ourselves safe, so that we can keep our own environment.
We're going to add, I guess, to wear our face mask all the time, especially when we are within the public space. Thank you so much, gentlemen. My engineer, Mike AK, and of course, Honorable Ahmed Mahmoud, for coming this morning to spend a part of your morning with us on TMI.